Francis Ngannou, former undisputed heavyweight champion, UFC, sunset clause, free agency, no matching period. And we've all been speculating. There's been like, what's he gonna do? Most people are leaning into he wants to do this boxing itch, that was his first love, etc., etc. And what do we know? Yesterday we have a interview with Ariel Helwani. Now, clearly, he must have had some kind of conversation with him previously outside of, yeah, come on at this time, blah, 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 blah. So I was quite shocked for pretty much an hour plus interview with not really much news, quote unquote, being broken. Um, let's go into some of it.
Hope for this to work out. I really wish that we could find a way to work out. I've been in the UFC in the past 7 years, and I always see myself in the UFC. I never really like envisioned myself out of the UFC. And when it comes to this point, because at first all this was just a matter of principle. It wasn't even an idea of leaving UFC or this. It was just like, okay, it's a principle. I need this. We have to do things right. Then it take on other dimension. So I don't know exactly what was it, but with time, I think that kind of like I was willing to compromise over and over and over and over. And I get to the point that I'm like, okay, I understand that I do want this, but guys, give me a break. Like, give me something, you know. And I'm not asking for a sky. I have heard talking about money. Obviously, money is a part of it, but it wasn't all about money. Um, I need some stuff, and they will never talk.
Yes. Now, this part of the interview I found quite interesting. And the revelation, if this is indeed true, that part of the renegotiation was that he wanted some sort of health care for the rest of the fighters. Very, very commendable. Principled gentleman. He's standing on the principles. Of course, if money has is a motive within this. Money is a major issue, Miami. But we, you know. I need some things. You had an Irish superstar, um, very much on his tail end. He's still going to draw pay-per-views, but Conor McGregor wasn't he allowed to go and do a boxing fight? Why on earth? Now we know what's potentially going to happen within said boxing match, but that's not the point. Why give Mr. McGregor the opportunity to go box, you know, Floyd Money Mayweather, and then say to Francis, nah, nah, we don't do boxing in the UFC. Huh? Even though they did that ridiculously long tour promoting said events with Mayweather and McGregor. It's contradictory. We know he's a promoter. He says one thing and he says another thing. He flip-flops. Whatever suits his agenda. Now, that's within the promoter's remit. Some take a lot more creative license than others. But the concerning thing is he's got no management. He's got potentially people around him to giving him support, which is cool. It's great to have a good support circle. But now you're a free agent. We need somebody there. Now, obviously, the negotiations need to be had in regards to, look, you ain't taking 30% of nothing. So, all right, then we can maybe look at 15%. Whatever that conversation needs to look like, that needs to have and needs to be done. But he needs some guidance. He needs some people. You can't be there on your own, fielding all these emails and solicitations from all these different promotions. Some obviously going to be quite major. Others are going to be kind of B league. I would imagine bare knuckle boxing are probably going to be reaching out to him as well. There's going to be all kinds of offers. You are a fighter, and at a certain point, I mean, if you came into the dance doing your own management, yeah, that's fair enough because you will learn from experience. I think it's a little late in the game to try and get gain this experience at a pivotal point. This this could be drawn out. based upon what he's saying, and obviously he's got time. Obviously, he's a heavyweight, etc. The hype is right now. The opportunities are right now. Questions were asked, and it seemed like, it was very blasé. So there is concerns over what on earth the landscape. It didn't seem like the big boxing promoters have potentially reached out to make offers. It's mainly on the MMA scene. It's crazy. It is crazy. He needs some support. There was talks of Ali Al Abdelaziz or whatever his name is, dominance MMA guy who's got a huge roster of fighters and has a very, very, very comfortable relationship with the UFC. There's been rumors that he's trying to say, look, let me help you out, man. I'm sure I can navigate the right kind of things. He needs some support. I wouldn't necessarily recommend well, anybody actually. He's called the snake by some people, but he has a very loyal fighters. He looks after their account, social media wise, and all that kind of stuff. Whoever it needs to be, he needs to get some support. He needs to get the ultimately he has a small window. Health, all the rest of it. He's a prize fighter. He needs to be able to get a 2 fight. He's got to look at it seriously. It's going to have to be a 2 to 3 fight deal wherever he goes. He's not going to do a one-off fights unless he tries to do his own promotion thing. And you've got to have a bit of money. You've got the name, but you've got to have some money to back that kind of thing. It's looking questionable. I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but this is looking a bit worrying. Will we see him fight in 2023? Trustfully, we'll see him fight by June potentially, or at least have an imminent date.
Talk about those stuff. It's very interesting how they kind of like pick what they're going to talk about. They don't talk about what the negotiation was about. They just talk about the money that they give me that could have made me the biggest paid heavyweight in the history, which is
Heavyweight history, biggest paying star. Brock's supposed to have got 8 million to fight. Like, all roided up and stuff. Like scales of an economy. That was some time ago as well. That was for like UFC 200, wasn't it? Like, what are we talking now? Like 13 mil a fight. You know, that fighters deserve to get paid. These kind of monies, I don't know about it still, but that's clearly what the boxers make and all that. They're making some stupid money, right? So UFC is the only game in town, allegedly. It's obviously the biggest promotion within North America. Done excellent work, and Francis has been very graceful. I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how he fares fighting, that we may potentially see him back. We could have a situation where John Jones beats Cyril Gane to become the heavyweight champion. Outside of his extracurricular activities, let's not discuss that. Let's just talk about fighting. He then takes on Stipe Miocic, beats him. That leads us up into what? July, August, September. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, let's paint the picture. Let's do the roadmap. Francis has a fight within that period of time. And the UFC says, but look, we got John Jones. He's the heavyweight champ, man. He's undisputed, even though, you left, quote unquote. Come on, let's do a 2 fight deal at a minimum. Yeah, 2 3 fight deal. Just pay you a truckload of money. You can fight John Jones. If you beat him, we'll do the rematch, obviously. And then you got one more fight, and we'll see what it do. It could be a massive 180 back to the UFC if this isn't taken care of correctly. What are your thoughts? Like, comment, subscribe, and most definitely share. Adios, au revoir.